So, in your packet, you have a purple sheet. At Probation, we like charts and visual things. So this was a flow chart that we put together to kind of just help us and to give out to stakeholders to just work through the changes that have happened in 561 and 464. And so, like we just said, nothing really had changed a whole lot with the intake piece. And Judge Gendler talked about really promoting the community-based aid dollars. It looks like maybe some of your packets, they aren't purple, but it's a flow chart. Yes, it's that. There's some, I guess, that are white. So, sorry. Really, those community-based aid dollars and those grant dollars and the intention of those and working with your communities. So if you have questions about that, we can help you or point you in the direction of the Crime Commission. So I think, let's see, probably one of the bigger pieces that we've been all trying to work through is the pre-adjudication, post-adjudication, who pays for what. And so we tried to outline that in this flow chart in terms of the county responsibilities and the probation responsibilities and who pays for different things. So if you have questions about that, feel free to holler. Post-adjudication, probably the biggest thing that changed was just tweaks to the evaluations, and now that if they're in detention, 21-day turnaround on those evals, if not the 30-day, giving us a little, and providers a little leeway on that. Then post-disposition, again in 464, not a ton of changes in regards to that, just a few changes with YRTC. Now they're responsible for the transportation to and from the facility, and they are responsible for the ones responsible for submitting the reentry plan to the court. And last year it was us, and we still facilitate all of that, put the plan together in conjunction with the facility, but then now it's they submit it to the court. Let's see. And I think, the other thing about YRTC commitments is just the change in the language that kind of states trying to exhaust all other options before we do those high-level commitments. So the other thing, too, we're looking at, as of July 1st, Probation now had all the transition cases. I know a lot of you in the room did a lot of hard work around getting those cases transitioned, those remaining ones over to Probation. So that piece of the change and reform is done. So now we're really looking at those kids that we have in out-of-home placements, where the ones out of state and the ones in state, and then figuring and working on developing that capacity for in-home, those in-home type services. One of the things that we're working on, we did have a planning grant through the Sherwood Foundation, and we went around the state talking with providers about developing MST, FFT, and the Boys Town in-home family services model. And so the planning grant was really to just go out and talk with providers about those types of services, educate them, and see if there was interest in them providing those services at different points in the state. We had a lot of response and a lot of interest, and so we applied for an implementation grant with the Sherwood Foundation. And so that is pending. And if we're notified that we are funded for that, then the next step will be to review those applications and work with those providers to provide those different services at different points in the state. So we're excited and hopeful about that opportunity to have those types of services available, particularly in meeting those mental health and substance abuse needs for our youth and our families. We're also working with the regions and trying to engage with them and figuring out how we can have better partnerships and expand and develop those services that they provide. Michelle and I will be meeting with them in a couple of weeks in terms of the crisis response piece that they offer and the professional partners, and how can we utilize those services and expand those services for probation youth, either in crisis at the point of intake or if they're about to violate their probation, things like that. So we're excited to be starting a partnership with them. We have a lot of national initiatives going on in probation right now. We talked a little bit about the JDAI. We're also involved in the crossover youth, as I know quite a few of you in this room are as well, adding Dodge County and Lancaster County and Gage County to the groups of people that are working on crossover youth in the state. And then probation was just selected as one of 5 jurisdictions across the country to be a pilot site with the Council of State Governments. And Council of State Governments is familiar to quite a few of you. They've been working in Lancaster County through a grant with reentry. They're also working on the adult side with the prison reform piece. And so we're excited to be involved with them as they come in and work with us on data. The 2 pilot projects that we'll be working on is maximizing and utilizing data and looking at reducing recidivism. So they just sent out 2 big white papers on those topics, and if you're interested, let me know. If you just go to Council of State Governments, you'll find those. They were just released, and there's some really good webinars. So we're excited to be a part of that collaboration as well. You've heard me talk a lot about data, and it's something that we really believe in probation. As fast as the reform efforts have come about, we're working really hard right now to also upgrade our case management system so that we can have the quality of data that we need moving forward to look at recidivism and all of the different pieces that we need to look at as we work with you in the communities. And so we have consultants working with us right now to expand and enhance our case management system to get the data that we need. So those are the big ones. There's 5 million things going on in probation every day. But if you have any questions, I can take any questions. So, all right, you guys are an easy crowd. Everybody's ready for a break, right? You need some caffeine. Oh, Dick has a question.
You brought up a point about data, and I know this morning when we started, I also mentioned data. Data is so important, so I'm wondering if there's some type of thought or plan that we can have a common data program. You know what we've gone through in Sarpy, you know what Dedekiss has gone in Sarpy. We need a common program so we can just plug those things in there and get the reports we need.
Right, so the comment was, is there any movement towards a common data system in our state for juvenile justice? And I would love that, as I think we all would. I'm not familiar with any efforts underway right now to join all of the different agencies that would take to be involved. I know there's lots of us talk about that all the meetings that we go to, how nice that would be. I'm just not sure where that would start or I know that we all talk a lot of Christine and I, and we join our efforts and talk and try to share information with each other from our data systems, but to develop one common case management system, I'm not familiar with any efforts at this point. Christine, are you?
No.
So, all right, well, I will be around during the break too. If you have questions, feel free to ask, and thank you for your time.